Do you ever feel like you're living on autopilot, unsure of where you're going? As if every decision was a risk and the fear of the unknown left you paralyzed? If so, you're not alone. Many people spend years searching for a purpose without ever finding clear answers. But what if I told you that the answer is already within you, and that discovering your purpose isn't about waiting for a sign, but about creating meaning in your own journey? In this video, you'll learn how to identify what really motivates you, overcome the doubts that prevent you from taking action, and build a life in line with your values. It's not about magic or luck, but the courage to see opportunities and make choices that transform your future. So stay until the end, because this could be the conversation that finally gives you the clarity you've been looking for. Have you ever felt that overwhelming pressure of needing to find out what your purpose is? As if there's one right answer for your life, and if you don't find it in time, you'll be wasting everything? If so, you're not alone. Many young adults feel this same anguish, especially when they are faced with big decisions, like choosing a career, changing paths, or simply understanding which direction to take. The fear of making mistakes, wasting time, or disappointing others can be paralyzing. But what if I told you that finding your purpose isn't about having all the answers before you act, but about learning to move even in the midst of uncertainty? Because that's the truth. You don't discover your purpose standing still, waiting for it to appear. You build your purpose as you go along. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in a clear and practical way. The first thing you need to understand is that purpose is not something fixed, immutable, or that comes from a moment of sudden enlightenment. Many people believe that they need to discover a great calling and, until that happens, nothing will make sense. But the reality is that purpose is something that develops over time. Think of anyone you admire. It's very likely that they tried several things before finding a path that really made sense to them. Steve Jobs started out in technology, but had a phase when he fell in love with calligraphy. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job because she was told she wasn't suited to journalism. These stories prove that purpose is not something you just find. It's built on trial, error, adjustment, and experience. But if purpose isn't something fixed, why do so many people have trouble finding it? This is because there are three major blocks that prevent this discovery. The first is the fear of failure. From an early age, we are taught to avoid risks, not to make mistakes, and to follow safe paths. But this mentality prevents action. The second blockage is external pressure. Often, the expectations of parents, friends, or even society push us down a path that isn't really ours. This makes many people feel lost, because deep down they know they're not living according to their own values. And the third blockage is the paralysis of doubt. We think we need to be sure before we act. But the truth is that clarity only comes with action. You don't discover your purpose by thinking about it endlessly. You discover it by testing, experimenting, and learning along the way. And how do you do this in practice? The answer lies in looking at your own history. Often, the clues to your purpose are already present in your life, but you haven't realized it yet. Here's a simple exercise. Think of 3 moments in your life when you felt completely alive and fulfilled. It could be something big, like a project that excited you, or something small, like a hobby that made you lose track of time. Now look back at those moments and look for patterns. What did they have in common? Were you helping someone? Creating something new? Exploring a new skill? These clues reveal what really matters to you. And when you start to recognize these patterns, it becomes much easier to make decisions in line with your values. But it's not enough just to reflect on what makes sense to you, you have to act. And here comes an essential concept: experimentation. Instead of waiting until you're sure before making a big decision, do small tests. Want to know if a particular professional area makes sense for you? Take an introductory course. Want to see if a project can work? Test it out on a small scale. These experiences will give you valuable information about what really motivates you. What's more, this approach eliminates the fear of making the wrong choice, because instead of betting everything on a single decision, you create a continuous learning process. Now, in order for your actions to be aligned with what really matters to you, it is essential to understand your values. Values are what define what is most important in your life. And to identify yours, do the following exercise. Write down a list of the things you admire most in other people and the characteristics you feel are essential to your happiness. Then filter this list down to 5 core values. These values should be your guide when making decisions, because when you act according to your values, even if you face challenges, you feel a much greater sense of fulfillment. But maybe now you're asking yourself, what if I'm still afraid to act? How can I develop the courage to go ahead even without guarantees? Here's a fundamental point. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting in spite of fear. The fear of making mistakes, being judged or not succeeding is natural, but it can't be the reason why you stand still. The best way to overcome this fear is through progressive exposure. Start with small challenges and gradually increase them. This reinforces to your brain that you are capable and that fear doesn't have to be an insurmountable obstacle. Now, to put all this into practice, here's a simple but extremely powerful exercise. Take a piece of paper and write down 3 moments when you felt truly fulfilled. Then analyze what patterns exist between these moments. Now choose an action, however small, to explore that direction. It could be a course, a project, a conversation with someone in the field you want to get to know better. The important thing is to take the first step. And remember, purpose is not something you find, it's something you build with every action you take. And now I want to know, which of these strategies made the most sense to you? Comment below and share your experience. If this video helped you in any way, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with someone who might need to hear it right now. See you in the next video.